Hello everyone and welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit for a very unusual race. Now, just like my last video, this is a multi-class Formula 1 race, but this time I'm going to be driving, and also included will be a field of 1968 Formula 1 cars, as well as this leading 1991 class, which I will be participating in. So here we go. So, it's Michael Schumacher on pole in the 1991 class, Ralf Seinen on pole in the 1968 class, 11 cars in total, and it's go! As it's a good start for the Ferraris in front of me. I believe that was Alain Prost who gets the best start, and now I'm going to try and come around the outside of Jean Alesi into turn 1. I'm going to have to hold it for quite a long time as the corner goes on for a very long time. And you're right, there's slight contact with the rear wheel of Jean Alesi's car, and it is Ralf Seinen that leads the 1968 class into turn 1. Now, as we head down into the difficult turn 3, you can see the tyre marks of a spin I had in qualifying for this race. So hopefully no more of those. Now, anyone who knows me will know that rear-wheel drive cars, especially those with a lot of power, are really not my strong point. So I'm not really expecting to be able to stick with the leading 1991 Formula 1 cars here. My aim is just not to finish last. So I don't want to I don't want to finish last in my class. And of course, if I'm not going to catch them, which I'm probably not, I'll have to do that through possibly someone ahead having a spin or something like that. So really, I just have to keep out of trouble and hope that someone in front does have a bit of trouble. Maybe not a proper crash, because you never wish that on anyone, but a little spin or something, just so that I can not be last. So it's still Ralf Seinen leading the 1968 class. That's the only class leader that I can actually see. I can see that on the bottom right of the screen. I won't know who's leading the 1991 class in this race. Oh, as I run very wide at the final corner there. I just missed my braking slightly and had to run it wide to avoid spinning the car around. And that's what you're advised to do if you do miss your braking point, because of course if you lose the engine or something, it can bring out the safety car, and that can ruin the race for quite a few people. So I just decided for the safer option to run it wide and avoid spinning the car around. Now, as I was saying, rear-wheel drive cars with a lot of power are really not my strong point. I'm better in touring cars. So this 1991 Formula 1 car is not my strong point, definitely. I suppose I just wanted to try something different aside from the normal touring cars that I drive. Oh, as I run very wide again. So you can see what I'm saying there. These cars are just not really my strong point at all. I'm going to run wide again. I need to calm down here. I really need to calm down, because if I keep running wide like that, maybe I'll have a spin soon or hit a wall or something like that. And that would be far worse than the mistakes I've already made. Anyway, if you're wondering how I can drive and talk at the same time, I can't. Trust me, I've tried it before, I can't. So I'm recording this commentary after the race. So this race happened just now, and now I'm recording the commentary separately. So I'm running wide again. Come on, calm down. Right. Of course, I have seen this all before, but I'm doing my best to treat it as if I haven't. I can still just about see Jean Alesi's car ahead of me there, especially when he goes around hairpins like that one. I can still just about see his car in the distance, and that's a bit of a comfort. It shows that I haven't really dropped back too far. Of course, I'm under no threat of being passed by a 1968 Formula 1 car, because they're a long way back. Of course, in 1968, the cars really didn't have the technology that we do now, or the downforce levels, or even the power a lot of the time. So the 1968 Formula 1 cars are a lot slower than the the 1991 Formula 1 cars. You'll see on the bottom right, in that last sector, I gained 5 seconds, in fact. As I run wide again, stop doing that! So, I gained 5 seconds on Ralph Sainin. I pulled out 5 seconds, I should say. And over a whole lap, it's, well, you'll see by the end of this lap, it'll be about 15 seconds I would have pulled out. So about 15 seconds a lap, and that means we are undoubtedly going to lap them before the end of this race. Anyway, so we have almost 3 laps completed here. I'm 7.2 seconds behind John Alesi's car. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing when I drive a rear-wheel drive racing car like this. As I run wide again, stop running wide. Of course, if you run wide in a certain way, you can get pinged for track limits as well. So I really need to stop doing that. I don't want to incur a penalty from the stewards. Okay, well, I've run wide there, but I haven't run off the track. So I should probably talk about this track a little bit as well. So we've just been through turn 1, heavy braking at about 150 metres, then through turns 2 and 3, flat left and then a right, run right out to the curbs. There's turn 4, you can run it right out to the outside as well there. Turn 5 is a quick dab on the brakes, change down 1 gear before you flick left into turn 6. 7 is heavy braking right, first gear for the right-hander before the run down to turns 8 and 9. Now I believe that these are the 2 trickiest corners on the track. You have to really sort of gradually decrease the speed as you go around there. I believe that was the best I did at all race though, because if you brake too heavily, because there's a corner there, you will spin it. Here's turn 10. Oh, got a bit over the curb on the inside there. It's you brake as the curb starts, switch down into third. Now for turn 11, which is a flat-out right-hander before a braking zone into 12, the corner, of course, that just seems to dip away from you on the inside and doesn't want you anywhere near it. I had many spins there in qualifying and in practice. Now down into the final corner. Oh, I've missed my braking zone again. So it's down into third before you sort of hit the apex and then run it over the curb. The curb seems to curve rather nicely for you, so if you run it over the curb, you'll be fine, so long as you don't run completely over it like I did. And that was a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. It was sort of nice that I'm not running in traffic and battling with anyone now, because I had the opportunity to show the track to you and to talk through it. So, yeah, not all bad being this slow. Now, as we come back down into the flicks, I've clipped the apex there better than I did last lap. You can see how the tyres are really working it there. In fact, if you do it in a 2016 Formula 1 car, you can see the tyres almost bending and being misshapen as you round those S's, such as the force that goes through them. But this is an early 1990s Formula 1 car where the tyres were a lot harder and a lot firmer, so no such tyre deformation. Now as we head down into the long left-hander, I've run it wide again. Oh dear, I keep doing that. Through 11 and now down again into 12. You can see what I mean about the track seeming to curve away from you. The corner curves in a way that makes you think that the curb is going to be in a completely different place. It's really rather confusing. And now the leaders I can see on the map at the bottom left have now lapped all of the 1968 Formula 1 cars, so they will be the next cars up the track for me. And I might well be running in traffic before long, so let's hope I can clear them cleanly. Braking down into first for the right-hand hairpin. I missed the apex there again. Running it over the curb. Yep, there we go. Over the curbs through turns 2 and 3. I believe I just caught a glimpse of one of the 1968 Formula 1 cars in the distance. It'll be Don Skurlock I meet first. Oh, I got it over the gravel there. So good job my tyres aren't softer, because that could have punctured them. Yeah, there's Don Skurlock. He'll be the first car to negotiate. who's running in 11th place of 11 cars. Third in his class. My goodness, that was a bit of a kick. I had a bit of, and I've dipped 2 wheels into the gravel again. I believe I just got some of the shift down understeer or oversteer and almost spun the car. Managed to run it over the curb to avoid it. Now it looks as if I'm going to reach the 1968 cars on a straight. Yes, I did indeed, so that's good, or at least I reached the first of them on a straight. Next to them will be Rfactor2, who has now been passed by Paul Powley, as I've gone past Sainen and I've had to brake for Powley there, but I've managed to get around him cleanly as well. And it's now Paul Powley that leads that class, and I don't know how long ago that happened. I wasn't looking at the bottom right of the screen to see. Oh, here we see a replay. So it looks like he's just got the better run. Oh, this was in traffic, so this was as they were being lapped. He's just got the better run out of the final corner. And of course, he's the faster car down the straight because he doesn't have that big rear wing sticking out the back. Of course, 68 was the year where they were just transitioning into massive rear wings. He's braked later going into turn 1. And he's managed to make the place stick. So Paul Powley now leads that class. And well done to him as well. It was a good sort of slipstream manoeuvre. As I don't know what I just did with the camera there. But it was something. Anyway, on to lap 7. So I've completed 6 laps. I'm now on to lap 7. I predicted before this race that there would be 9 laps. I worked that out with a calculator. It's a 15-minute timed race. So when 15 minutes are up, the next car through, or the next time the leader comes through, the checkered flag will be shown to them. And then that will be the end of the race. So I predicted that it would take 9 laps for the 15 minutes to run out. And that means that the 1968 cars I predicted would be lapped twice, so they would end up they would end up doing 7 laps. As I come down into the trickiest 2 corners on the lap, I got the first apex rather nicely, missed the second, or at least I got the second apex, but I bounced over the curb a bit and went wide. Ah dear. Right, now as we come down into the long left-hander, yeah, you can see my brake ducts glowing as I turn in. You would have seen that on the front right, but I managed to get that section of track almost perfectly. Certainly the best time of the race so far. Now down the long back straight, coming towards the final corner. Let's see if I can get this right this time. That looked like an okay braking zone. Yep, in fact, I've done it. My front left tyre got caught in the gully of the curb a bit. Oh dear. That was a bit of a hairy moment. Almost got sucked out. Now, I've seen that happen to cars in real life there as well. It's a bit of a vicious curb. It's got a bit of a gutter in it. And it tends to suck cars out to the outside. As I lock up the front right, coming into turn 1. No flat spot that I can see though, and I certainly didn't feel one, so that's good. Hopefully it's not cost me much time at all. Of course, time isn't really what I'm worried about in this race, because I don't appear to be catching, or I'm not catching the cars ahead at all, and I'm certainly not dropping back to the cars behind. So I think my position is safe, so long as I don't make any big mistakes. That was a close one. Again, it's just some shift down oversteer as I enter turn 7. Whoa, I've gone a bit wide for turns 8 and 9. Oh dear. Yeah, I just got some shift down oversteer again coming into turn 7. The rear end kicked round. I hope that the rear tyres don't have too much wear on them after that, but it was certainly a bit of a hairy moment as I've run it wide again. I've done that several times this race. If I'd done that in qualifying, I would certainly have been done for track limits by now. For disobeying track limits, that is. Bit of a bump in the middle of that corner, I noticed there, turn 12. My car just seemed to jolt a bit as I rounded it. But, oh, look at that! That's a good line! Oh, I'm pleased with that. Down into turn 13. I believe that was the best turn 13 of the race so far. Whoa! Okay, I'm switching camera there. Okay. Oh, I remember that. I Just wanted to see where everyone else was on the track, I suppose. And then I ran wide. I suppose I shouldn't have distracted myself, should I? Anyway, so there's 22.3 seconds between me and John Lacey. There's 1 minute left in the race. I'm not gaining that back, I must say. Unless there's some kind of accident up ahead of me. Why did I shift down into gear 1 there? I have no idea. I shifted down into gear 1, got a bit of shift down oversteer. And that could have been a hairy moment. Luckily it wasn't. And, oh, okay, I thought I was going to run wide there, but I didn't. So, I'm certainly not going to catch the cars ahead. That's for certain. I'm having a lot of shift down oversteer here. I've done it 4 times in the last 3 laps. And I really need to be careful of that. Of course, if you do it badly enough, you can have a spin. As I run wide again there. And a spin is certainly what I really don't want to happen, especially in these cars, as the timer ticks to 0. So the next lap will be the final one. The leaders are already onto their final lap, and I can see they're already lapping the backmarker traffic for the 2nd time. And it looks as if there's actually going to be 10 laps in this race, so I was 1 out in my calculation. Luckily, I did put a bit of a safety buffer in the fuel, so I put in 11 laps of fuel rather than just 9. So 10 laps, yeah, I should be able to finish that, providing I haven't used up more fuel than I should have done. As I missed the apex going into turn 1 again. In fact, I don't know if I'm even going to reach the backmarket traffic on this lap. I don't think I will, actually, because I seem to be quite a long way back on the minimap on the left-right. Left-right? Bottom left! What's a left-right? My goodness. Anyway, we're 9.4 laps in. There's 27.2 seconds to John Lacey up ahead of me. Yeah, that's really not happening. At least I am going to finish out of the 1968 cars. There's at least a bit of consolation for me. I wasn't utterly dreadful. Oh well. We've got a yellow flag on screen as well. Okay, that's cleared itself rather quickly, so nothing serious, thank goodness. We don't want a safety car in this race. That would really shake things up. Actually, I'd really... Whoa, dear, and I've spun. Oh, very nearly hit the wall as well. But I've just managed to loop it around out of harm's way, and I've got going again as well. I managed to hold the clutch in that spin. But that was a bit of an unexpected one. As I was saying, I'd actually rather like a safety car, because that would bunch up the field. And then it would allow me to catch right up again. So you can see I just got the right 2 wheels on the gravel, and you can see a 1968 F1 car going past in the background. Just loop the car around. Of course, when you do dip 2 wheels in the sand, of course the left side of the car has more grip than the right hand side of the car, and the right hand side just goes wee right the way around. And you can see how close I was to hitting the wall as well. I'm very lucky to have got away with that one. Maybe just some tires going off here, because I have actually I did do that earlier on in the race, and I got away with it. As you see, a spin there. That's Don Skurlock in the 1968 car, and let's see what happened here. I believe, yeah, he just got help. I think that was Nelson Piquet, and Nigel Mansell really had to slam on the brakes to avoid him. Yeah, it was Nelson Piquet. Here we're going to see Don Skurlock's view of it. Yeah, nothing he could have done there. He probably should have got out of the way, because there were blue flags flashing. But the problem with that was that he didn't... I think that was opportunistic. Well, it was optimistic from Piquet's view of it. Yeah, that gap was closing. I don't think that was really on from Piquet. Anyway, the race is over, and I don't know who won the 1988 class, but it looks like the 1968 class. I mean, I don't know who won the 1991 class, but the 68 class was won by Paul Powley, and I have finished the race. So, despite a scary spin on the final lap, I finished the race. And I actually really enjoyed that one. I really wasn't the quickest. In fact, it was the slowest 1991 car on track. But it was really quite an enjoyable race, actually. Anyway, more of these races to come. stay tuned. Thank you for watching this one, and I will see you next time.